stood out 'cause you were in red. Then, against my intentions, I let you turn me.
Welcome back to the program, and we definitely appreciate your valued company. Time for us to look into matters of diet and nutrition after the holiday season. People have eaten quite a lot, but now we want to look at what are some of those better healthy tips. What does it even mean when you say you are dieting, and what is proper nutrition? That is what Jessica Wanjiku, who is a nutritionist, will be helping us understand in like the next 30 minutes or so. Welcome to the program, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Doreen.
Where do you even start from? Because there's quite a lot to discuss when it comes to dieting and nutrition. We just said that the holiday season is over. Watu wamekula,
People have overfed.
Yeah, well fed. You know, some are thinking of perhaps either going to the gym, some are thinking of adding weight, and all this boils around the kinds of foods that you eat as a person.
That's right.
Perhaps you can begin from, when you talk about nutrition, what basically comprises of a proper nutrition?
All right, thank you. For a proper nutritional diet is one that is balanced, has proper carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins and minerals. But I would say for this season, we should try and concentrate more on carbohydrates that will release the energy slowly, the kind that we call low glycemic. Because we have eaten a lot of chapati, rice, pilaus and all. Let's now focus on the ones that give you sugar slowly, like nduma, arrowroots, sweet potatoes, cassava yams.
Arrowroots is the nduma.
Yes, it's the nduma. And even if you're going to have the rice and chapati, cannot have them very small quantities or very much spaced out. Like you're eating it chapati today, you eat maybe after 2 or 3 days, if possible. People ask me, how do you avoid rice, chapati and the like? What you do is you make a stew that is heavier. So if you're using potatoes for your stew, you make that stew a bit heavy. I mean, like you use more ingredients, more vegetables.
When you say potatoes, these are the Irish potatoes?
Yes, the Irish potatoes. Basically. Yes, warus. Okay. So if you're using Irish potatoes or warus to make your stew, use a lot more veggies. If you are maybe doing a plant-based stew, you're using madodo, beans. So use put your gourgets, carrots, tomatoes and all. That stew is a little bit heavier, and you can do more of the stew than the rice. So a bigger portion of the plant-based stew, a very small portion of the rice, and probably some vegetables, a fruit like an avocado, that way. And then when you're starting eating on your plate, start with the plant-based stew, then like move around to the vegetables, then the rice. By the time you're reaching the rice or the chapati or whatever starch you're having, you're almost full. So that's the hack. You're not really eliminating it, but you're reducing the portions.
So you start, you've served this specific foods in your plate, in portions definitely, and you'll tell us about the portions momentarily. But then you're saying start with eating that protein base, then move to starch. How is that even practical?
It's something that you have to train your mind.
Rice, you just pick the rice and then the stew, or if it's ugali, you're picking,
That's how we are used to doing it. So you have to like reverse engineer your brain such that now you're trying to start with the stew or the whatever proteins that you're having. Then you go to the veggies, then you go to the starch or the carbohydrate. So we say that we're serving, like if you're having, how we say that I'm nakula chapati and madodo. So you say now madodo and chapati. You actually start with saying it first.
You
start with the beans, then you go to, if there are veggies, then you go to the starch. So it's a mind trick that you train your mind to do that, reverse engineer it.
Well, that will quite take a lot before you actually do it, given how we've also been cultured, even just as Africans, for instance. But there's something that you also mentioned, and perhaps I'd want you to elucidate a bit on that one, when you talked about even the foods that we should be looking into in this new season, and you touched on minerals. So which foods exactly are this that you're looking at?
Minerals, mainly you get them from vegetables.
All right.
Of course, we start with the green leafy vegetables. It's what's commonly available in the Kenyan market. Like you will always find spinach, skuma. Nowadays, managu, terere are also available. So those green leafy vegetables are very rich in minerals. All of them, not most of them, all of them. But we also have the kind of white or colored ones, like the cabbage, the cauliflower, the broccoli, and the like. They are packed with lots of minerals. So those are the ones that are readily available. Then now we go to these things we call superfoods. Okay, I find the name being, superfoods are things like moringa leaf powder, baobab powder. Baobab is mabuyu. Then you have what, neem. Okay, those leaves that were traditionally available that we kind of left, but now we are pushing back to the people to know that they are stinging nettle, things like those. Yeah.
How available are this? Because just even from the name that you describe them to be, you know, superfoods, someone would imagine, sasa hizi zinapatikana wapi?
It's superfood. It was popularized from the West, but these are foods that are readily available. Stinging nettle is dafai, baobab is mabuyu. We eat mabuyu almost on the streets when you find them. What was the other thing that I mentioned? They are available. It's only that people have forgotten about them. Because like right when I was growing up, at some times when it used to rain, my mom would harvest what is it called? Blackjack, mushere. Those leaves are edible. We would also eat, when it rains, a lot of managu would spring up. African nightshade, they would spring up, and so we will go harvest before the land is plowed. So it's just that they have been depopularized, and also the kind of, because of use of a lot of pesticides, in the farm, in the farming systems, those weeds were killed because of the things we sprayed our farms. So when I was coming to my 20s, they were not as available, but now because we are going back to organic farming and all this, they are kind of coming back to the market. Nowadays, even if you check at Naivas, you'll find the managu, terere, saga, kanzira, you'll find them. I can't say they're organically grown or anything. But they are available. So yeah.
When you talked about organically grown, it just reminds me, like, you know, those vegetables that you're talking about, like the kanzira, managu, terere. I was telling someone that these days you actually cook them and you don't even have to boil them, as it were. You just fry. You know, kitambo, you would boil them and let them boil because you couldn't quite eat it.
They were tough. But that also goes to show there's something that have changed. Like we are no longer...
In our production process?
Yes. Like the fact that you don't have to boil, because boiling was loosening up the roughage in the vegetables. The fact that now you can just put them in your kitungu, nyanya, and you fry them and they're okay. There are some that you still can't do that, like kunde. Kunde is still very tough. So I think because these are also vegetables that you would find even when it was getting like dry, they were kind of drought resistant, the kunde and those ones. So I think a lot of has changed in our farming systems, but there are some that are still zimeshika. The kunde, still you have to boil it a little bit. Some of the vegetables that are found in the Western region also you have to boil them a little bit.
It's true, actually, it is. But then you talked about some of this, you know, crops being drought resistant, and this just orients my mind to think about even what you're reeling with as a country currently, issues of drought still quite on the rise. So from your perspective, even just as a nutritionist, someone who's really a lot into these aspects of food and healthy eating, what would you give as a recommendation that we need to do as a country to perhaps revert back to some of these drought resistance crops so that then we can be sustainable even as a country? What would you say?
I think we should, and the trend is already there. I think the last time we were talking about organic farming and everything, and I can say the community is growing. One of the food that is coming back is cassava and yams. Those are quite drought resistant crops.
Sweet potatoes too, it looks like they're coming back.
Yeah, they are coming back, although they still have they are still affected a lot by some pesticides. and if they're sprayed, you find that still the tuber doesn't look so good. But cassava and yams, they are rarely attacked by pests. So unfortunately, actually I was talking about this recently on our YouTube channel. People associated those drought-resistant foods with poverty, because they were the ones that were available when we were having drought, like cassava and yams. But we also need to reverse that mindset so that people can start buying them, because we can grow them as organic farmers, but if you don't buy them, it doesn't make sense.
What's the point?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So we need people to revert their thinking or their thought process such that they accept these drought-resistant crops as actually our staple food, like cassava, yams, sweet potatoes, arrowroots. We need to change our perspective first of all, so that we can buy them, and then once we have started buying them, we can even stipulate what kind of quality we want, as the consumers. Actually, consumers, we have a lot of power. We can stipulate that we don't want this one because it's it has a lot of pesticide residue. So kinda try to reduce that, like how the international community does with our products. Why are they brought back? Because they test them and they say the residues, the pesticide residue on this crop is too high.
But as a country, how much power do we have to do that?
We might not necessarily have it, but I'm saying as the consumer rights, we have the rights to demand the right quality of products. It's only that we haven't gelled enough to accept these products. But think of something like tomatoes. Tomatoes and apples, there's a time when they were being sprayed to turn red, then sprayed to turn green. And people just raised the issue and somehow it is subsided. Like people are no longer doing that. The same for, was it potatoes, for them to grow very fast? I know because I come from Nyandarua, people would spray, like this is the portion of land for commercial production, but this is for home consumption, and these ones are not sprayed, these ones are sprayed. There's a documentary that was done about potato farming in Nyandarua, and the farmers, because they are not hiding, they will say because the demand in Nairobi and Kiambu and all these bedroom counties around Nairobi, because the demand for potatoes is too high, we have to spray these ones to grow faster. We ship them to Nairobi, but ours, we can take 2 or 3 months for them to mature.
So and they can wait for that?
Yes, they can wait for that. So such trends need to change. We need to, as consumers, we need to demand that our growers or our farmers give us the right quality of food.
That just reminds me like of the GMO debate, to a point that even the courts halted it, much as yes, the government has said that they're going to make importation of some of these products, like the maize, rice and sugar to sustain us from around the months of March, but at least by the time they were settling into it, Kenyans had really explored that issue so much so, because consumers were those that were complaining those that were for, and we are just trying to be able to converse around that issue. All right, I hear you.
If we had the same momentum around even other foods, not just the main staples, it would really push products out of the market that are not standard. They're substandard and they're not good for human consumption.
Makes a lot of sense. So then now when you talk about dieting, I mean, you will hear a lot of these statements, especially this particular month. I'm dieting, I'm only taking water, I'm taking lemon water. What is this, first of all, and is it necessary?
Interestingly, that name dieting just came up in my household this morning. And this is the connotation associated with dieting. When I'm eating healthy, someone will come and ask, hey, when you are dieting?
When they just see vegetables in your plate,
Yes, say we are in a restaurant with a group of friends and I choose to do a vegetarian diet as opposed to going for meat. And someone will be like, hey, Jessica, when you are dieting? So it's been associated, like healthy eating has been associated with dieting, and it doesn't have a very good connotation even among us as peers. And because someone will ask you with a little bit of there's an undertone to it, yeah? When you are dieting, why are you dieting? But I'm eating healthy, I'm not dieting necessarily, yeah? Because dieting is going back to something that is, you know, for your body, it's healthy, like taking veggies, drinking water, probably going for like a longer period without eating if you have overfed during the festive season, like giving your body a detox. Yeah, so these terms have been associated, they have an undertone to them, but you need to use them correctly. Like if I'm eating my vegetables, no, I'm not dieting, I'm on a vegetarian diet. If I'm eating,
you can be on a meat diet.
Yes, there are people, yeah, that's what I was getting at. There are people who, there's a carnivore diet. There are people who eat exclusively meat and they're doing okay. The people who take fat, and fat has been shown to even reverse obesity at some point. If you're consuming the right kind of fat, because I think there's a time I discussed what is it called? High density lipoproteins, like the ones that, the fat that will move fast through your blood system, and there's low density, the ones that clog your arteries. So if you're eating the right kind of fat, it's okay. Actually, people lose weight that way. Let me tell you how. Yeah,
because I was about to ask you, I mean, do you even have healthy fats?
They are healthy fats. The plant, the seed-based oils, the canola oil, the olive oil, those are good oils. But again, if you tell someone I'm on a fat-based diet, they won't understand unless you explain that I'm eating this kind of foods that are, yes, high in fat or cholesterol, but it's the good kind of cholesterol, because there are two types. High density lipoproteins and low density lipoproteins. High density, they move fast through your blood system, so they don't necessarily clog the arteries, whereas the low density ones move slowly through your blood system, like they flow slowly, and at times they tend to stick to the walls of the arteries and veins. So how does someone consume oil and lose weight? Oil takes a lot of energy to break down in the body, because it's actually like carbohydrates take, I think, 4 kilocalories to break down 1 gram of carbohydrate, if I'm not wrong. Then proteins take 7 kilocalories. That's the energy required to break down a gram of proteins. But for fat, it's 23 kilocalories. So you can, someone who is consuming a lot of the good oils or fat, the body requires more energy to break that down. Where does this energy come from? It's the stored energy in your body. Like, you know, carbohydrates are stored as fat. So if they will be broken down to break whatever you have consumed, and then somehow you lose weight. It's a lot of science into it, but it works.
But then how do you know this is the high density, this is the low density, and actually this is not good for me, this is not? Because just as you said, anytime you talk about fat and you put losing weight in it, it doesn't sink.
Make sense.
Yeah.
Actually, just what I said, things like olive oil, canola oil, sunflower oil.
These are the high?
They are the high density.
So this is the best, eh?
These are the good ones.
Okay.
And I've talked about it. If the oil is packed in a clear bottle where you can actually see the oil, because there's that debate. Someone will tell me, let me not mention brands, but the kind of oils in yellow bottles, even people will tell you, when I put it in a cold place.
In November last year about some of these brands.
Yeah, if you put it in a cold place, it solidifies. Oil should not solidify. What solidifies is fat. Animal-based fat, like even if you get oil from a cow or sheep and you just slaughter it and you put it outside at room temperature, it solidifies. So that's fat, from animals, solidifies, and that is what we grew up consuming. We had different brands, because even my mom would buy the 10 kg block and we would consume it maybe for 3 months or more. But right now we are using oils, and the manufacturers know that we are moving towards oil, so they will write 0 cholesterol, all these things on the packaging. But if you can't see your oil, just think again about it. And when you put it even at room temperature, sometimes it solidifies depending on where you live. Like in our residential area, because it's cold, if I put that oil in that I can't see in the yellow kibuyus, it might solidify. Or even if it doesn't, when you're pouring it out, it's coming out in some chunks. But if I put canola or if I put sunflower oil, it can stay there for months without solidifying. Yeah.
So the biggest thing you need to be looking into if you're talking about fats in that regard is just from face value, those in colorless bottles, and actually if it can solidify or not when put at room temperature. That should make you better informed to know if this is a legit oil as they say it is, or it's just some fat trying to be put as oil.
To be sold as oil. Also, consumers need to be enlightened, because even if when you check the labels of these oils or products, you will see, because now they are required by law to indicate, some of the brands are required to indicate exactly where was the source of this oil or fat, as you claim.
And KEBS requires them to
the labeling, branding, all these things are listed in KEBS, because KEBS is a Bureau of Standards. They have all these requirements, only that there are so many loopholes where manufacturers use, and still the products end up in the market.
Okay, I hear you. So then also I'd want us to talk about intermittent fasting. Again, it's a term that you will hear a lot in this season. I'm doing intermittent fasting. And what is this, Jessica?
Intermittent fasting basically is going for a long period of time without eating something.
Long period is between what to what?
It starts from 18 hours. It starts from 18 hours. Okay, you can start from 12 hours where you eat, 12 hours where you fast. So that means if your last meal is at 4 p.m. in the evening, you can only eat at 4 a.m. in the morning. So the good thing with finishing your meals early is you go for a longer period. Like you can almost push it to 16 hours, sometimes even 20 hours, if you finish your last meal in the late afternoon. So the whole idea of intermittent fasting is going for a long period of time of your day without eating. Then you eat your meals within a very specific period of time. So it starts from, you eat your meals within 12 hours, then you progress and eat your meals within 8 hours, you progress and eat your meals within 6 hours, within 4 hours, and now you can see you're almost fasting for a whole day.
So this is basically eating with breaks in between.
Not with breaks. Okay, let's say at a 24-hour day.
Okay.
I wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning. I only take water, and maybe just water, maybe infused water, maybe lemon water, water with baobab or whatever. And I don't take breakfast. I don't take lunch. The next meal I will eat at 4 p.m. So those are 10 hours within which I have not eaten, right? I'm not wrong, right? For those 10 hours, I've not eaten any food. I've only been taking water. Then from this...
So all through this entire time, from the first time you took water, you have just been taking water till 4 p.m.
Yes. Then at 4 p.m. now I can eat something. I can take uji, eat some eggs, eat even a full meal. And then maybe I stop at 10 in the night, so my last meal might be at 10 in the night. Then from there again I fast and I'll eat in the morning. So there's a schedule that you follow. There's times when you're supposed to eat, fast, then eat, like that. There's a schedule which is available on Facebook or whatever.
You can always find it.
Yeah, they can always find it.
Is this healthy?
Yeah, it's very healthy. It's very healthy because you're giving your body a time to break down whatever you have consumed, and if whatever you've consumed is all broken down, it can start now breaking down whatever was stored during when you are feasting. Yes, during the periods when you are feasting. So that's the whole idea with intermittent fasting. Initially it was used to help people reverse diseases. It still is used to help people reverse diseases like diabetes, hypertension, even obesity. So that's what popularized IF, intermittent fasting.
Fasting. And so anyone also who has that goal, resolution to perhaps lose weight, this could be a good kind of program.
Yes, it's a good program. So we share it on our socials. If they check Malkia Nutrition, they will find all this information about IF, the schedules, because there's a schedule and there's a way you progress. You start fasting for 12 hours, 10 hours. You start fasting for 12 hours, 16, 20, 24.
As you progress.
Like that.
Okay, quite interesting. So then, the aspect of missing breakfast, you would also quite listen to, I don't take breakfast, like I don't, until around 10 or 11 thereabout. Is this healthy eating? Is it proper?
It's okay. It depends with your goal or your kind of lifestyle. Because everyone, when I talk about what we do as Malkia, I always talk about personalized, individualized. It goes to you as it applies to you as a person. The good thing again, it's what if you skip breakfast, you're doing a type of intermittent fasting.
In a way.
Yes, because you have slept through the night, say even 8 hours, let's just use 8 hours, then you take your first meal at 10, so that's another 4 hours. From 6 to 10, it's 4 hours, so you've given your body 12 hours to like metabolize whatever food was in the system. And if the food in the system was all consumed, it uses the stored body, the stores, the fats, and whatever else is stored in your body. So it's okay if you're healthy or if your intention is to reverse any of these lifestyle diseases.
So there's nothing really quite wrong with that, as long as it's personalized.
It's not. The thing why people have contention about breakfast is because, again, from the Western part of the world, people say breakfast is the most important, but what is their lifestyle?
They say actually it is the most important meal.
Yes, but what is their lifestyle? They are going to some place where they're doing hard labor or being very active. Some of them take breakfast before they go to the gym. You know, they have a more active lifestyle than we do. And even for us Africans, not as sedentary ones, like someone who is being quite involved in, like their day is quite involving physically, it's good for them to have a heavy breakfast because their body needs that energy to push them up to lunchtime conveniently. So it depends with the kind of lifestyle you're eating, what are your health goals, are you reversing any lifestyle disease? If you're not, aiming to reverse any lifestyle disease, take your breakfast. If you're not having any health goal, take your breakfast, have your snacks. It depends with what kind of life you are living. Actually, recently I was kind of bashed on my YouTube and Facebook status, WhatsApp status, because I was sharing a lot about the kind of food I was eating. But at that time, I was pregnant. I would bake, I would eat what people ask, why are you eating too much sugar, why are you eating too much fat? But I was pregnant. I had to build up my body to prepare for that journey. So it depends on what stage of life you're in. And I kept telling people, even on our YouTube channel, that everyone's need is personal. Someone might be aiming to gain weight. So on my channel, I will share.
Just wanting to lose weight.
Yes,
all the
I will share how to bake a cake, because if you're aiming to gain weight and you love cakes, why not? So
that's why even you said for breakfast, actually it's personalized on an individual level.
It's all personalized.
I hear you. Now that you talked about pregnant, and we are here discussing about diet and nutrition. Which one is best for pregnant women?
For pregnant women, it has to be high on everything. So high on carbohydrates.
Every category.
Yes, high on carbohydrates, high on proteins, high on minerals and vitamins. That's actually why we give in supplements. Because even like right now, I am on calcium supplements because I feel that my body needs more calcium. Calcium, most of the minerals are usually drained a lot from the mother's body as the fetus grows. So your body needs a lot of calcium, a lot of iron, a lot of potassium, and all these things. So you give in supplement. That's why you give in supplementation, because a supplement, it adds on to what you are already consuming. So the reason why supplementation or IFAS is given to all women is because there's no distinction really in terms, we can't really tell what kind of diet are you on as a pregnant woman as opposed to what I am on. Some might be taking enough, some might not be taking enough. So there's just a standard that every pregnant woman can be given to supplement on their minerals and vitamins. And then now, in addition to that, as a pregnant woman, you just have to consume a high-calorie diet, a high-protein diet.
Mostly.
Yes, because protein, your body needs to make another body.
Okay.
And proteins are the body-building ones. You need a lot of energy from the carbohydrates because, again, your body is breaking down a lot of things and trying to reconstruct a lot of things. So you have to be high calorie, high protein with a lot of supplementation.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And finally, as we cap this one, Jessica, talk to me about a proper plate. Lastly, what is a proper plate? Yeah, a proper plate, just general.
For someone who is healthy.
Yes. Or for someone who's thinking of, I want to embark on healthy eating.
Oh, right. Now you have
proper diet.
It has to be reversed. So for someone who wants to just start a healthy kind of lifestyle, 50% vegetables. Whether they're green or they're colored, 50% of your plate.
Salad is cabbage and
carrots, tomatoes, whatever, courgettes and everything. All these are veggies, yeah? And then now 25% is protein, preferably plant protein. So all these beans, lentils, things, all those things. And the rest is, the remaining 25% is carbohydrate. Again, we talked about the low glycemic ones. So if someone can have a brown chapati as opposed to a white chapati, if we can have maybe whatever, some baked sweet potatoes or whatever. I did a video recently on fried sweet potatoes. They were delicious.
Where can they find this video?
On our YouTube channel at Malkia Nutrition. It's actually one of the trending videos on our channel, not on YouTube in general. So they check out Malkia Nutrition on YouTube. You'll find that recipe for sweet potatoes. Someone has shared a recipe for arrowroot fries. I will try it out very soon and record it. These things are delicious.
Okay,
yes, so,
I hear you.
Yeah.
But bottom line is 50%, half
veggies
of your plate.
Yes. Oh, we didn't finish. And water, lots of water.
Oh, yeah. That's not dieting, it's just good water.
That's just normal. It should be for everyone.
I hear you. Thank you so much, Jessica, for your valid insight. We definitely value that.
I appreciate you calling us here.
All right, I have been speaking to Jessica Wanjiku, who is a nutritionist. Of course, what has formed center of our conversation is diet and nutrition conversation. But before we get